Well, I think we are recording now. Excellent. Thank you for joining me, Simone, on the
Thank
Portugal Club.
you. I'm
And
very excited to be here.
you were telling me about this new project, and I said I need to record because this bit of the story sounds really exciting. So you shared the idea with your son, and it was like your son was like, "Mom, what is this? What are you doing?" Is that right? Have I
Yeah,
misinterpreted?
yeah. I mean, they follow my faces, and then when I send him the image of this next event, he said, "What are you doing?" And I just told him, It feels like I'm putting all my life into one piece of work. It's just feels so exciting for me. And I
Right.
love to share with you because I mean we're so close, and the first person I think about, okay, Carl should know about this.
Well, yeah, and well, thank you for sharing it in our local WhatsApp group because the people can potentially see what we're recording all over the world, and this
Great.
is actually very local to us, isn't it? And I'm trying to find a way of bringing it onto the screen to share with people, though I'm not sure I can do that at the moment. But what really what really got my attention was the Grow Up, Wake Up game adult support group. So I think I have a sense of what it might be about, but can you tell us what you know how what the inspiration is and why it's like grow up, wake up? Why does it seem so in your face like that?
And may I ask you to tell me it comes to you when you hear that, because this is a key thing here.
Yes. Well, when I see that, I really wished I could get it onto the screen. I'm not seeing a way to do that so far, but if I can, well, maybe I'll put the image as the wrapper on the recording. But yeah, for me, and as soon as I saw it, I responded with something that I want to start, which I think is that we're about to go into some incredibly turbulent times for humanity. I mean, we're already in them, aren't we? It depends where you're sitting in the movie theater of our times, and obviously, a lot of people are already facing upheaval in the world. But I think that's a general trend. When things will happen and what will happen are guesswork, but I think we can assume that the direction of travel is certainly towards more turbulence and change, and maybe that can be transformation for the best for humanity if we choose to do that. And more events that are part of that seem to be what's happening. So I'm not. It's not like I'm not trying to tell the future, but I think I would defy anyone who's alive in our part of the world or our culture to not see that as as how things are, the way things are going at the moment. And part of that for me is we can be passive um victims of of that, looking back, this happened to us, or we can have something happen, because I think what we're experiencing is almost like our lack of attention to things
Mm.
before. So we're having to face the consequences of that. And one way of having the future be a certain way is to wake up and to grow up, as you put it. That's what I picked up on anyway when I saw it. That
Well,
we might do that, and we might influence the future by
mm,
doing.
mm. This is a wonderful setup, the stage for this short conversation,
Yes.
because it is confusing. What we know is that we need to change or maybe transform in a way so we can handle the intensity and the complexity of our world. And we sometimes get a bit lost in all the pieces of the puzzle.
Mm,
So my intention with this workshop or this group is actually to clarify what is it that we mean by growing up and what it is that we mean by waking up, because there is an overlap, first of all, between these two things. But let me just shortly clarify that from a psychological perspective, we keep growing in a certain way even as adults. Okay,
mm,
when we have kids, it's very clear to see which stage they are, because they are just growing, and their capacity to do things improve, and they have the shifts. But the very interesting thing, Carl, is that we keep on doing that as an adult, and we
Mm,
go through phases of development required for us to have a capacity or a space to handle the complexity that we have in the world today. So this is the growing up part, and there is a step by step phases in our development that we can, being aware of them is like a guideline how to climb up the ladder. But sometimes we just go back, we fall back and we go up and we fall back. So this is what we can call it a cognitive development. I mean, the way we think, our capacity, that's the growing up.
mm,
And then we put waking up, because we're in Portugal and we are in Silver Coast, and everybody moving to Portugal is opening a yoga school. They all do uh, Reiki healing, all that, which is part of the waking up.
mm.
But some people are mixing up. I mean, this week, I have to tell you, I went to a absolutely fantastic sound healing event.
It's Jilly's thing, right?
Yes, it
Yes.
was wonderful.
Shout out to Jilly. She's a neighbour of ours, really, isn't she?
Yes. So she does this amazing work, and I know she also does Reiki. And then people going there, they also have uh, experienced the amount of tools that can help us to wake up.
Mm,
But we kind of need to put these things, both things together, because sometimes, if you work with the energy is one level. If you work with no crystals or astrology, or this like different pieces of the puzzle
mm,
of the waking up. But I just felt like an obligation as a psychology living in Portugal and meeting all these people, really urging life really to help them uh, um, get some clarity in this process.
yeah.
So I said we need both things. We need to understand what is grow up and what is wake up and put it together. I mean, last week I went to an event, and the name of the event was Science or Spirituality. And there was this debate of people,
What it was one or the other.
well, it sounded like, they
Yeah.
started with this polarity or
Yeah,
with
of
this division. And then, of course, it's all connected. It's
course,
all
yeah.
connected. So these meetings or this group that the first group, at least, that we're going to form is go to a personal level of development. Where are we in the development in
Okay.
terms of growing up? And since it's going to be maximum 8 people, we're
Yeah.
going to have a chance to create a really safe environment for people to go a little bit deeper than they will normally do in other areas, because development is very unique. We cannot talk about, there are so many gurus out there. Everybody knows about the major gurus, but how does that apply to us individually? How can they help us where we are now, and how can we take the next step of transformation if we don't even can place ourselves in this stage of development? So I found this theory is called adult development theories many years ago, and that kind of changed my life in a way, because I by studying the next steps, and the, like I'd say, the best phase is when some of them call a self transformation stage. And this is what you said, going back to your question. I know life is happening in a kind of funny way. It's very complex,
Yeah.
and we know we need to kind of be ready for it, be ready for whatever comes. But changing is one thing, transformation is another thing,
Yeah.
because something inside of us has to shift,
Yeah.
and we have to be more capable of taking in the polarities of life. So we have to get away from the good and bad, right and left kind of thinking.
Mm.
But that requires, years of training. And life seem to, it's not that life is throwing at us all these challenges. Life is giving us, so this is for us to evolve. If
Yes.
we see it like that, everything changes. So it's a fascinating topic. I can start talking here for another 2 hours, but I I would love to hear about, if what I'm saying is resonating with you.
Oh, without a doubt, no question about that. And yeah, if I could, I mean, I did say we would only be 10 or 15 minutes to give a little bit of an introduction, but could I just respond and ask you a couple more questions?
Sure,
Because,
sure.
I get it, the growing up and the waking up, that and these two parts that are not, it's not either growing up or waking up. It's integration. The science or spirituality. We're at a time now where it might be that instead of trying to find out which is the right answer or the right side or the ideology of these things, that
Mm,
we have a personal experience of it, and the personal experience of that is integration. So that would have, that's what I'm hearing is it, with what you're talking about is, I mean, certainly this idea of we're not necessarily grown up once we're grown ups. That's an old idea, isn't it? I mean, my wife Louisa
mm,
is has a recent interest in knowing her ancestors. And when I was saying to her only about half an hour ago, when we're looking at these pictures of ancestors, that are going as far back as Victorian times in the UK, and then the First and Second World War, you look at the people in those pictures, and it's a very different time for
mm,
humanity and and
mm,
and personal development and human development.
mm,
And this is not in any way to diminish those people. It's just like an observation of how people were different.
mm,
And it was assumed, wasn't it, that you were a child or an adult, and there was a very broad understanding or imposition or judgment about that. That you were a child, then you grew up and you became an
mm,
adult, and I get the sense that that was it. Then that's where we were at as human beings. It's like you were schooled as a kid, you were conditioned and brought up to be a certain kind of kid that would fit in, and then you would be an adult, and you would be that adult for the rest of your days, and
mm,
you would leave this earth pretty much as your formed personality
mm.
that you developed as a child. And now we seem to be in different times where that is not really helping people be very functional anymore. To still be trading on the personality development that you figured out when you were 5, 15, 25, 35 might no longer suit you in your individual life and the world such as it is when you're 55, 65, and 75. So have I understood that right? That that remains an active inquiry about how we might be awake to what's going on in the world, and then also to reflect on how we can still grow to meet that what's coming our way from the world.
Yes, you explained it quite well, because there is a lot of wonder about, um, how much we can actually grow up
Mm.
in as an adult. And I love this coaching question that is called, that goes like this: what would you like to become before you die?
Yeah.
So that opens up, room for us to really deeply wonder, oh, there is a margin of development here. And if there is a margin of development here, how do we do?
Yeah.
Right? How can I know that I have, in the last 5 years, for instance, in our ages,
Mm.
how can I know that I have moved up?
Yes.
So I absolutely love our conversation all these questions, and I felt the urge to share what I have collected over the years
Mm.
in this area, and also because I got very inspired by a course I'm taking now. It's called The Art of um, Developmental Coaching, because I do coaching.
Right.
And the whole course is based on this theory and a few other theories that help us to understand what it is that our times require of us,
Yes.
what kind of capacity, abilities, awareness, and understanding that
Yeah.
is required. So I would love to share more with people, but I wanted to do that in a more private, safe
Yeah.
environment. So the rules of the game, Carl, I put it there. You know,
That
you have.
that's another sorry to interrupt, but that's another
Yeah.
question I have for you, is you've called it a game. Now, why would it be a game instead of a course or a group? Why have you chosen that word specifically to call it a game?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that. I have been debating about this. It's a game because I want to invite people to look at their own development in a more playful way,
Mhm.
because we need to detach from ourselves as if we are the object of our observation. From that perspective, we can play with the concepts.
Mhm.
It is a game because there is. I almost called it a dance.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense too.
I,
Yes.
I I dance because I sometimes I grow up, sometimes I wake up, and everything goes together. So there is a play with that,
Yeah.
and I call it a game for that reason. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, that absolutely makes sense. And I've put the slide. I managed to do this now. So the rules of the game are:
Mm.
be kind and respectful, leave your ego at home, and prepare to be challenged. And so I take it the first meeting, and this is just a few hours on one day, isn't it? As a kind of establishing the 27th of January next year, between three, just a couple of hours, right, to chat and
Yes.
and to explore this as a starting point, presumably for further exploration as a group together, presumably.
Exactly. So what the idea is that to form groups in this event, I would actually open up for more people. But the idea is that when you understand the game
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
we can form um, this is smaller groups. That's when we go a little bit deeper in everyone's own development.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the idea. But thanks for asking me that. Maybe I should clarify that in the material. So let me tell you about the rules, because the rules for me was also fun. I thought, okay, I don't play board games, but I know board games have a rule. You have to set up the stage. You have to know what people are doing. So
Mm.
if I call it a game, I needed the rules. And for most people, I mean, it's very difficult to go and get help and to go to a psychologist and go for therapy. And some people don't never get there, but they still grow and they still curious. So the idea is that it should be safe, it should be kind and gentle and private, but it also needs to be challenged, because
Yeah.
we all need to find where is our uh, growth edge.
Yeah.
Where is it that we are stuck in
Yes.
this process of growing up and waking up? And this is what we're going to try to together in these small groups to
I
help
love
each other.
I think that is such a service to people who can hear that, are excited or inspired by that option or choice that choice in life. You're doing an amazing job in making that available, to people. And yeah, I more of it more bravo and more of this, and I'll be very interested to hear how it goes. So for somebody who might be interested, do they just get in touch and you'll have a chat with them to see if it's for them or not?
No, they show up in this event. This is
Okay,
where I'm going to explain the game. I'm explained what I'm proposing, and
right,
then we're gonna form smaller groups, or
right,
and then there will be a regular meetups with the same
got it.
8 people.
All right. So this first meeting is not the actual activity. It's a kind of kickoff to explain exactly what people might be getting themselves in for, and then the group will start after this particular event.
Yes,
Okay.
thanks for clarifying that, because I have to make it that very, very clear. This is just a draft, in my first draft today.
Well, I picked it up
Um,
and ran with it, didn't I?
yeah, right away, 5 minutes later, you're
Yeah.
writing to me. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. I'm so inspired.
Yeah. Well, I think I want to do something similar. This is your unique flavor and a wonderful distillation by the sound of it of the things that have inspired you. And I'd like to make something similar available with the Portugal Club, that people can
Mhm,
check in with each
mhm.
other. And it is important, isn't it? People find their right way of, if they're in any way interested in waking up or growing up, as one way of
Mhm,
putting it, that they find the
mhm.
the right way and the supportive way of doing that, right? And because there are
Yes,
many options.
yeah, I have come to the show a couple of times before with you, and we have this discussion about, what's the best way to integrate in Portugal.
Mm,
How can we bring our culture and move on from this experience? So we have talked so much about that. So anything that any idea you have to make a group, maybe only for you guys,
oh,
but why
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you why don't you and your wife come to this event so you understand more what
I will
we're
ask
talking
her.
about?
I will ask her. I'd like to be there and would like to learn more and meet other people. That's the other thing, isn't it? To meet other
Mm,
people who are interested in the process, because I think that's another part of this now, is
mm,
that we do need co-creators and collaborators in
mm,
this. This is
mm.
and the things have changed. I was talking about Victorians and the World War time people, and then there
Yes.
was another phase, the quite obvious phase of, the human potential movement in the 70s and 80s. And I think now this is another post-pandemic
Mm,
phase where it's not gonna be about reading a book, like a self-help book, and it's not gonna be optional. I
mm,
don't think it's optional
mm,
anymore. I think to some extent we need to educate ourselves in how to continue to cope and grow with the world. At the very
mm,
least, cope, and then in the best scenario, actually
mm,
thrive, and I
mm.
don't think that's gonna be optional anymore, quite honestly.
Yes, you have a big point there, an important point, because maybe our ancestors did not have the time for self
Or
reflection in a
and
way
yeah,
we
right.
do it.
Yeah,
And also, we have to remember that we are the role models for our kids,
yeah,
and our kids, post pandemic life, have a potential for growth that really challenge us as grown ups. So we need to be the adult in the room, and sometimes
well said.
we don't know we don't know how. And you said the word process. This is a process
Mhm.
that, luckily for me, AI cannot answer you all the questions. You cannot put it there and get a step by step. You can get some help, of course, but it is such an individual, unique
Yeah,
process that there is no one methodology that can take you there. And this is the fascinating thing. I mean, I'm here opening up, creating a space, but what will come out of that, it really depends on who is there, who shows up, and who is ready to be
absolutely.
challenged.
Yes, absolutely, and that's a key thing that you're reiterating there. I think it is this won't be about being told what to do, will it? This will be a
Absolutely
setting,
not.
primarily a setting, the creation of a space and a
Mhm.
context for what you're talking about,
Mhm.
and the openness to being challenged and challenging others and in a safe and supportive way, which I think is so exciting,
It's
frankly.
very exciting, very exciting. What I'm bringing is the structure, are the
Yeah,
questions, and
yeah,
then and we are going to co-create this process, huh?
Wonderful. Wonderful. Do you think, on another note, there is something happening specifically in this area of Portugal? I think the country itself is drawing people who have an interest of this kind, but do you think we're a particular epicenter for this sort of interest?
Well, I'm here, you're here. There must be a reason.
That's a good answer. That's good enough, isn't it?
And everybody we meet, they say, "Oh, do you feel the energy? Do you feel
Yes.
the air?" And we all agree. But this is the growing, the waking up part. Because in the waking up part, we need to be able to perceive more than what is visible to our eyes. So
Oh,
all
yeah.
these sensations that we all getting. We and How many people have told you last week that they want to start a community, Carl?
Mhm,
Everybody is needing this belonging
mhm.
to go forward. So what I'm trying to bring is just a way forward using some relevant theories that can guide us all, and I'm included. Huh?
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, well, that escalated. It was only meant to be 10 or 15 minutes, but I think that's probably enough, isn't it? I mean, from my
Yes,
point of view, I don't know for you, but to
wonderful.
convey the idea, to see who's interested, and they can get in touch with you through the community, or get in touch with me, and I'll connect you both if that's all right.
Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure. My
bringing
pleasure.
attention to this.
Not at all. I'll stop the recording.